As an international student at UC Berkeley, I navigate through classes and deadlines. But what I'm often thinking about is life after school, getting a work visa. But over the past few years, getting a work visa has become harder and harder. From 2020 to 2023, applications nearly doubled. That's almost 759,000 applications for only 85,000 spots, all done by lottery. But before I can even start, I need to find an employer that's willing to sponsor me. Then, because of my US graduate degree, I will be qualified for a 20,000 priority lottery. And if I don't get selected, I will join a general pool of 65,000. That all equals one try. After graduating, international students can work for 12 months. That's called the Optional Practical Training, or OPT. For STEM students, they can extend it to 3 years. I hold a STEM degree. That means I get 3 years to try the lottery. But life is harder for students like Jay, who's about to graduate from law school.
For students who do not have STEM OPTs, we just have one chance, given the difficulties with securing not only a job, but also just being able to pass the bar exam in my case, as well as get an H-1B sponsorship if I were to secure a job. And it makes the stakes that much harder.
It can feel especially unfair. Students like Jay and I pay twice and sometimes 3 times more than domestic students.
Having to pay more obviously hurts a little bit more, because when you pay these kind of fees, you want to come in with the hopes of, having some sense of security that after this program, you have a real shot in the labor market. But unfortunately, that's not how the realities play out.
Between tuition and living expenses, international students contributed over $40 billion to the U.S. economy over the past year.
This period of real growth in international students happened too when universities, particularly public universities in the U.S., were, just dealing with a lot of budget pressures. They're really helping, subsidize the education of American students.
This reliance on international tuition have led some universities to go extremes to protect it. In 2017, the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, took out a $61 million insurance policy to protect themselves against the sudden decline of Chinese student enrollment. But it's not just money that we bring. We also supported jobs. 368,000 jobs in 2023 alone.
If you look at what international students study, they disproportionately study things like science, engineering, computer science, technology. They are in some ways important for the sort of workplace ecosystem and high-tech companies, for example, because they just would not be able to hire as many Americans. They're actually adding to the jobs in an area. They're not displacing American workers.
When I came to the U.S. to study, I hope to stay and work here after graduating, at least for a while, and I'm not alone.
I think for a lot of people in several different fields, they're coming to the US because of the sophistication of American education, sophistication of American financial markets, legal markets, the whole political system. So I think part of the reason, at least in my case, and I'm sure in several other candidates who are doing a master's in law degree, is to come to the US to pass a bar exam and clear a bar exam and thereby work in the US.
But Jay still needs an employer willing to pay for him to stay.
The employer has to file a petition, and then they're paying filing fees, which filing fees depend on a range of things from, the size of the employer to whether or not the employer wants to pay premium processing. But I would say it's typically around like $5,000 for the USCIS filing fees, not including attorney's fees.
Christina says an average cost to sponsor an employee could be around $7,000 to $8,000.
There's just very few job ads that will specifically say, we are interested in hiring people who are international students or who don't have citizenship. And more often, there are ads that say, this job's not open to you if you are not an American citizen or a green card holder.
At times, it can feel like the odds are stacked against us. With so few spots, there's even been accusations of fraud, that individuals and companies have filed multiple applications. What kind of real chance will I have, especially when the numbers of H-1B visas given out hasn't changed in almost 20 years?
You have a number of proposals that do take congressional action. Things like carving out an exemption for international students who get degrees from American colleges in high demand fields. Likewise, there have been endless debates really about expanding the H-1B lottery, but none of those have happened.
With the November elections upon us, immigration policy reform will be an unavoidable debate in the months ahead. In the meantime, I'll just keep my fingers crossed.